People keep asking, is this kid me? And I think they ask it to be funny, but no, he's just some kid in Sarajevo on the street. What's remarkable about seeing kids in Sarajevo is that, and it's covered in the book, is most children you see are the descendants, they're like the next generation, they're post-war. And in a way, every child you see on the street is a success story. It's a survivor story. You know, they don't have to do anything or say anything. Just by being there, by living, it's a sign of life continuing in a city that very easily could have been completely destroyed. My name is Robert Isenberg. I'm 32 years old, and I'm a writer living in Pittsburgh. When I moved to Pittsburgh, I wanted to be a writer. I had always wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a novelist. I figured I might want a job when I graduated school, so I took some journalism classes. And I discovered that I actually really love journalism, and I've been writing for magazines and newspapers ever since. As a journalist, I usually cover arts, culture, and travel. Usually I don't know when they're going to be a cover story, so it's always a surprise when I go to the box and I see, I guess I wrote that. This is Kathleen George, who was actually my professor back in the day, and a very skilled, very prolific writer. This was on Carnegie Mellon's exhibit on Steeler culture. This is my pride and joy. I went on semester at sea, and this is the story I wrote for In Pittsburgh Weekly back in the day. Dispatches from various countries around the world. China, Japan, India. And I find that I'm just very interested in cosmopolitanism, in diversity of people. We live in a very globalized world. There's still a lot of diversity from culture to culture, from class to class, ethnicity to ethnicity, and the arts help that conversation. They help people. They help people understand each other. I started writing this with it was just a passion project, but I felt very strongly about it. And I hoped that it would answer the question, what happened to these countries after they stopped fighting. I had just started becoming very serious about being a photojournalist. And in this case, it really could not have been more visually provocative than a city that had been at war and now was decidedly at peace and trying to figure out what it was trying to do with itself. And some of my favorite pictures I've ever taken were taken on that trip. Not just in Sarajevo, but all along that series of, in various Balkan countries. Considering the places I've gone and the decisions I've made, I should probably be in a lot worse shape than I am. But I rarely have to go to a doctor, which so far has been good because I usually don't have health insurance. Every time I've tried to pursue healthcare, it's either just outside of my means. I can't dependably pay for it because I'm generally working paycheck to paycheck. But also, I find it very confusing. The more paperwork, the more confusing it gets. I know a lot of people who aren't covered in any way, especially men. Physicians have told me over and over again, there's a period in most men's lives between the early 20s and like 40 when they just don't have a lot of health problems and they don't think about it, or they just kind of, there's a bravado there. And it just seems like an unnecessary expenditure. And I don't feel that the system helps them recognize how dangerous that is. People like me, I'm a perfect example.